What up? What up? What up? What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Rich. Real Talk with Rich is back in the building one more again. Hope you guys have a super dope Friday, super dope weekend. I'm sorry. Hope everything is well with you guys. Everything is good with your boy. Hope you guys, like I said, had an amazing weekend. I'm glad you guys are here. While you're here, please come on in. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel as well. You know, shout out to everybody out there in Twitterland. Shout out to everybody out there in Facebook. Want to shout out to blackcomiclords, blacksuperheroesforever fam. Also want to just welcome everybody that's watching all over the world and all that good stuff. Again, please, if you're coming in, you know, hit us with a like, you know, tell a friend, tell a hater, we don't care. We here. So don't have a big outline, nothing deep to talk about tonight, but you know how that goes. This is going to be a chat intensive show. So y'all, you know, hang out with your boy and we'll get into the shenanigans that is comic books and all that good stuff. But let me just greet some of y'all that's in the chat. What's going on? Moan, what's good? James Staten. Yes, thank you. Welcome. Pericles, what's good? 1 in 100 podcast, my man Amir. Salute. Shout out to my man. He was with us last week. Pericles, H&H, as always. Kevin Pitts, what's good? Robert Monroe Jr., salute. But for the rest of y'all, man, come on in. Like I said, we're not going to do a whole lot of talking, but you know what I'm saying? There is a Marvel show on TV, so we might as well go and get into that shenanigan. Daredevil. And episode 8 just dropped this past week. I thought it was an okay episode. It had some stuff in it, for sure. But at the end of the day, it was just okay. I wasn't like blown away with what's going on, but you know what I'm saying? I don't want to spoil it for nobody, but suffice to say that we are on the very tail end of this. We have one more episode to go, and Daredevil will be wrapped up until, you know, there's, I guess, a season 2. I don't know if they've greenlit a season 2 yet, but, you know, the episode ended kind of like, really? That's what we're doing? So, overall, I got to say that Daredevil it's been decent, but it's not been this mind-blowing thing. It's just not, you know what I'm saying? Now, to be fair, you know, I guess Matt got a little spicy this episode. You know what I'm saying? He sits down with Poindexter. He sits down with Poindexter in prison, and Poindexter wants him to, in so many words, defend him. Like, you just killed this boy, and you want him to defend you? Okay. And of course, Matt wasn't going for none of that. Matt was very upset, and shout out to Matt for even taking the time to just go down there to slam his head into the table. So, you know, that happens, but of course he escapes. And like I say, I don't want to spoil everything, but, you know, this is getting ready to wrap up. And so Wilson Fisk is... Kingpin has been very, very subdued in this series, this whole series. The real villain in this series is his wife. She has been... she just out of line, you know. But hey, you know, it is what it is. My brother man says Daredevil is good, but not really a great superhero series. In fact, a casual person would be barely know it's actually a superhero series. Yeah, you know, we haven't seen Daredevil a whole lot in this series. This has been Matt Murdock kind of brooding, mourning, that kind of thing. Fisk is trying to, you know, change his image or whatever. He's still the same dude, as we find out in this episode too as well. And yeah, but the wife, man, that's the gangster. That's she the gangster for real. She the bad guy. So he says season 2 has already started shooting. Okay, that's what's up. Well, like I said, I've been really keeping up with it. My man Amir, y'all go check out my man Amir at 1 in 100 podcast. He keeps up with all the entertainment news, especially when it deals with comic book shows and series and that kind of thing. So y'all go check my man out. Give him a follow. But yeah, man. So again, like I said, I'm enjoying it for what it is, but I'm just not really rah whatever. You know what I'm saying? Daredevil's a dope character, and so I can't say that I am disappointed, but I can't say that I'm not exactly pleased either. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. If you ask me tomorrow, I might think it's the best thing since sliced cheese, but I doubt that's going to be the case. But yeah, we'll see. He says, brother man says, wish they show more villains and actually more fighting scenes. They not really using characters fully or correctly in my opinion. Well, again, I mean, I think that if they're filming season 2, if they started filming season 2, they're probably going to have more of that in the next season. I think that initially we were told that they were going to do, when they first announced that they were doing a Daredevil series, there was going to be 18 episodes. I didn't know if they decided to break it up, but I'm thinking that we were going to get 18 episodes in one season. But they decided to break it up or whatever. So we probably are going to get more action in season 2. I think they are fully aware that the action in this series has been close to zero. It's been okay for what it was, but this is a casual show. It's a casual show. It's not for the hardcore. Fast Willie Jackson says, nah, the wife isn't the villain. She just thinks she's more villainous than Kingpin. But as you can see, he's subtly teaching her that she's not ready for this kind of life. I don't know, Fast Willie. I mean, he put her in that room with that dude, and she let a few slugs go. He might be training her, mentoring her, or grooming her, whatever it is. All I know is that it got out that she was the one, quote unquote, responsible for Foggy. So we'll see. Jay Wilkes says Daredevil has wasted a season. This show made Kingpin wife a star. Yeah, and I know. I see, Jay. I know what you're doing. I see you working. It's more that MCU stuff, huh? It's more that nonsense. Yeah. Fastwood said the story telling is exceptional. I mean, it is. It's a slow burn. It's a slow burn. I mean, I think that's the thing with comic books and comic book writing in general, in terms of on the big screen or small screen, that there isn't a lot of. I think that there is a lack of appreciation, Fast Willie, for good storybook writing. You got guys that all they want to see is action. All they want to see is fights and explosions and things of that nature. And some people can appreciate good storytelling. The storytelling in this has been cool. It really, really has. I can't, if I had to just watch this and not be wanting to see action or whatever, and I'm just looking at a show or a movie, whatever, and I don't know nothing about Daredevil, I probably will enjoy it. But because we know the character, we know what the character did in the Netflix show, some of us, I think, we want more of that. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, before he was really quote unquote Daredevil in the first Netflix series, whatever, he was running around with a stocking cap on his head and wrecking shop. He was known for that. You know what I'm saying? He was defending Hell's Kitchen. But Hell's Kitchen has no defenders that we know of. So other than the guy that said, they called him out, the cop that called out the swordsman. So yeah. So she says, okay, Brotherman says, Vanessa's not really a villain. Shooting someone in a jail is not really a villain, although she is crazy and evil, but not really a villain if you know what an actual villain is. Yeah, I get that, bro, but still, that's dastardly. Shoot somebody in a jail cell. I don't even know if that was a jail cell. That was like a dungeon. But anyway, either way, Go broke in my MAGA voice. That's funny. Daredevil is not a woke show. Though I will say, I was watching it this past episode, this episode, and I know that Kristen, her last name is McDuffie. Well, if you know Kristen from the comic books, Kristen McDuffie in the comic books, they're like best friends. But she's a white woman. In this series, she's the black woman. So there's that. You guys you purists, you comic book purists y'all can have it. Y'all can have that. But it was interesting that they had on the screen, they were talking, and they had the logo, or not the logo, but the signage just said, Murdoch and McDuffie on the thing. And initially I was like, that was kind of cool, but it reminded me of Dwayne McDuffie. But I do know that Kristen's last name is McDuffie as well. So yeah. He said, well, if Daredevil let you down, at least we have The Last of Us tonight. Well, I'm not watching that, so I'm not even caught up with that or whatever. But yeah, I think my wife is watching that. So 1 in 100 podcast, you out of line. So this show made me a fan of Hawkeye. Hey, look, y'all don't sleep on Clint Barton, okay? You know what I'm saying? Kate Bishop y'all gonna see Kate Bishop again. I don't know if we're gonna get a Champion series or we're gonna get a Young Avengers show, but y'all gonna see her again. So y'all might as well go and get your appetite wet for some more Hawkeye. It's coming. Jay Wilkes says, I was looking for the deep analysis where Daredevil realizes he finally had his one bad day from being the Punisher. They dropped the ball on that. Where was our signature moment? I'm going to be honest. I got to say that I'm disappointed that we didn't get to see more of the Punisher. Will we see him in the last episode, episode 9? I don't know. I'm thinking, well, maybe with Murdoch, with Murdoch shot, okay, how anticlimactic is this going to be? Y'all can't tell me homie is gonna suck it up and get wrapped up, check out, put on the Daredevil suit, and go hunt down Bullseye. I don't know if we're gonna get that in the last episode, but if they're going to salvage this series, they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to do that. So again, now maybe, Frank Castle sees the news report that he gets shot. He sees his friend get shot. He straps up, you know what I'm saying? He's armed to the teeth, and he goes hunting for Bullseye himself. I don't know. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Let's see. What else we got? Why wasn't Bullseye in Raft instead of Rikers? Missed that one, but oh well. Well, it is what it is. I thought it was interesting that when they put him in Gen Pop, I didn't understand that. Okay, this is a super villain. Why would you put him in Gen Pop? And my question is, did Kingpin put him in Gen Pop? How did he wind up going in Gen Pop? And he had no problem in Gen Pop. He didn't have hands put on him until, from what I understand, till Matt did it. I don't know. Herschel says the last of us sound like comic book readers. Well, yeah, buy the comics, read the comics. Y'all know how we do. It says they should have used more or show more of him. He was in for like 3 episodes. He was out there. He might not be dead along with Foggy, so we'll see. I think he's sleeping with the fishes, bro. 1 in 100 podcast says the crazy part is the director said that the series was going to be full action. He trolled us. Yeah, he did. He did. Herschel says, I'm not laughing about that. Yeah, I know. Punisher's supposed to get a special presentation or extra from the Daredevil show. Well, we'll see. Got one more episode to do it, and it's done. So, I don't know. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to all y'all that's watching Daredevil. I know it's not what we wanted, quote unquote. I mean, you know, I'm just not, the MCU in and of itself is, okay. They putting out stuff, so we're going to watch it. It is what it is. I mean, how many of y'all excited for the Thunderbolts movie? How many hardcore Thunderbolts fans we got in the chat? Put a 1 in the chat if you're a hardcore Thunderbolts fan. Now, Jay Wilkes says, they're going to need to unpack a lot of this episode. Is going to be extended episode. I don't know, bro. I hope it is. They got a lot of, it's good. In my opinion, right now, they got several plot holes, but are they going to tie it up? I don't think they're going to be able to, which is why they are probably giving us season 2, you know, sooner than later, I would say. If they're filming season 2 already, this is the street show. So I see no reason for them to have to go into post-production and all that stuff. There's not going to be a lot of special effects or anything of that nature to have to do extra production stuff. So we may get that, you know, by the end of the year. Jay Will says they could have had Daredevil go bad, and at the last second, Punisher steps in and takes the shot. Then he looks at Daredevil and he says, "Vengeance is my thing, Red," and walks away, leaving Daredevil silent. Yeah, well, Jay Wilkes, I'm gonna need you to go on and go apply, get that job in the writers' room at Marvel, because I don't know. I like that though. I like what you just said. That would have been dope. That would have been dope. Now, Brother Man says, "John, we cannot say that. This is a family show." But Brother Man, he says, "Not a hardcore fan of Thunderbolts, but I am ready for it to enjoy comic films. Just pray they do it right or something." I am intrigued to see Century. I am intrigued. That's the only reason why I'm really kind of checking for this. Now, Winter Soldier ain't no joke. I'm in for Sebastian. I do enjoy the Winter Soldier, but I'm really intrigued to see how they handle Century, because everybody knows. Maybe some of you don't know, but Century is, quote unquote, the Marvel version of Superman. And so you're using these characters to fight a Superman or a apex predator or overpowered, whatever you want to call him, all-powerful being. Let's see, the writing, the writing better be solid for this to even make sense. I'm gonna say it like that. So yeah, you know, it's probably going to be a more comedy than anything, you know, but we'll see. Fast Woody Jack says, "Honestly, I think Daredevil is excellent. Not everybody's going to like every show or movie, just like everyone does not like every Marvel character." True. I mean, like I said, I think it's cool. I think it's solid. It's not, you know, over groundbreaking, whatever. I just don't. Again, as someone who read comics, I mean, it's okay. It's okay from that, but I would like it to be more. When they said that they were the title of the show was Born Again, I thought we were going to get the Frank Miller story. Clearly, this isn't. This is more Charles Cholet and Chip Zdarsky stuff. Okay, fine. I am surprised we haven't gotten an Elektra sighting in any of this. She'll probably show up in season 2, I'm guessing. But yeah, we'll see. Real Proto Mike says 6 months of filming planned for season 2's 8 episodes. Okay. Yep. Century can fit in as a new addition, given that his backstory is a retcon. Yeah. we'll see what they do with that. That's going to be interesting. You know what I'm saying? Real Proto says kind of like how they handicapped Adam Warlock in the Guardian movie. Well, you know, to me that was a waste. I mean, to me, Warlock should have been in the Infinity Saga stuff or whatever. But, and I guess technically he was a part of that, but not in the real story itself. But yeah. So anyway, that's enough of Daredevil. So shout out to all of y'all that's watching it, enjoying it. Yeah. So Robin Monroe asks, is everyone ready for Sinners this week? So I've heard some good things about Sinners, the show, or the movie, I should say. Say it's pretty good. Some it's pretty, from what I understand, it's very, very raw. It's a raw movie. It's not something you take the kids to go see. So yeah. Am I going to go see it? I don't know. I mean, for its day one, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm gonna check it out like everybody else. That's a Michael B. Jordan fan. I like the story and the setting and that kind of thing. So I'm good with that. And it's probably gonna be solid. You know, the vampire movie I want to see is Blade. You know, and I've given up on that hope that Blade is going to get made, because, you know, for the most part they said, they announced it without announcing it, if I can say it like that. It's like, well, it's kind of obvious that you guys are not doing the movie. Brother Mentu says, I'm ready for Sinners, but didn't like that Ryan Coogler interview he did on Breakfast Club. He is passionate, but he needs to leave comic films alone. Well, he's got one more in the chamber. He's got Black Panther 3. I know how some of y'all feel about that, but hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined. Because at this point, if you don't go with Coogler, who would you go with? If it ain't Coogler, who's it gonna be? Premier says, like, I'm going Friday. Got a large popcorn cherry coke with my name on it. That's what's up. Enjoy it. For sure. He says, we'll wait till Nigel. We'll wait till we 90 for Blade. Well, you know, at that point, if I'm 90 years old and still looking for a Blade movie, then my life must have really sucked. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, I'm gonna be chilling somewhere. You know, hopefully, if I'm still here, yeah, I won't be. I'm gonna have to bring my dentures, and you know, instead of eating popcorn, it's gonna be gummy bears. So we'll see. We'll see. TJ coming along in MCU real soon. You know what? Don't start with that. Don't start with that. I mean, you know, look, the Black Panther situation. It is what it is. I am recasttchalla. They need to go and make that happen sooner than later, and we can get back to talking about Black Panther in a positive way. But it's kind of like Whoopi's character in the Color Purple. Till you do right by me. That's why nothing in the MCU has worked since Black Panther. It has been a guessing game since Shuri became the Black Panther. And while I have no problem with Shuri being Black Panther, everybody and their mama know that they should have recasted T'Challa, you know, and Shuri could have became Black Panther at a later date, because there's so much more story that they could tell. And as far as Shuri goes, we're not even getting the stories, in my opinion. We should have gotten Doom War instead of, you know, what we got with a made-up country and a made-up origin for Namor. But hey, Talakon, baby. So anyway, what else we got? Yeah, H&A says T'Challa Jr. for sure. Y'all been saying his name wrong. It's not T'Challa. The T is silent. It's T'Challa. I had to watch it. Said just have Ryan take the credit, but get someone else to do it. Ooh. I mean, look, that's a sore spot. I know that there are Black Panther fans that are still angry at Ryan Coogler. I've gotten over it, if I can say it like that, only from the standpoint that, you know, we got the movie we got. You can't unring a bell, so to speak. So he got the contract to do, you know, 5 years or whatever that contract was to do. The Eyes of Wakanda show is coming out. Are they going to recast T'Challa? Some people think that Secret Wars is the reset, and that's when they'll do it. And if they do it, great, that's fine, you know. But Secret Wars can't get here fast enough for me and a lot of Black Panther fans. Right now, I would settle for a Black Panther run with him as the king of Wakanda. What's going on, Tron World? I will settle for that. I will settle for a new run. We need a new run. Ultimate Black Panther is amazing. I'm enjoying that for sure. Shout out to Brian Edward Hill. But we need a Black Panther continuity story. Not 10 issues. We need a story that's going to go tell some new Black Panther stories. Not talking about the stuff that they want to put out or the book that they're doing that Christopher Priest is writing. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to read it. I'm going to consume it. And if it's trash, I'll roast it like anything else. But I'm not going, that's not in my opinion, an adequate substitute or whatever from what they've been doing with this character, which is, and you know, me and Paul go back and forth, and I hate half the time agreeing with Paul, to be honest with you. And shout out to my man. But you know, what they've done with this character over the past few years has been a travesty. And so, again, Marvel is the biggest troll out here. We're getting a lot of quote-unquote Wakandan themed stuff. There's a lot of Black Panther-esque stuff, but the stuff that everybody really wants, that we're not getting. And Marvel knows y'all spend money. Why you think, while I'm here, why you think they put out the Black Panther issue 1 3D book? They're selling that for $12.99. Black Panther by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, the 3D edition of Black Panther #1 was $12.99. $12.99. Now, my thing is, we've had the Black Panther, the Black Panther reprint or whatever. I think that's a book that you should have in your collection if you're a collector. You know what I'm saying? Not the reprint, but the original. So, but of course, shout out to my man DJ Big Phil, who says that if you don't have Fantastic 40 or 52 in your collection, you can't call yourself a Black Panther or a Black comic book collector. And I have several reprints, and so I'm going to continue to pretend to be a Black comic book collector. But shout out to my man. We got a super chat. Tron Wells in the building. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Brother Man 2 says that they're not building up Doom correctly, and since they've dropped the ball on Kang, it's messing up things in Marvel, in my opinion. Well, I mean, I'll be honest. Marvel been messed up for a minute, to be honest, brother man. I mean, it really has. Now, I am enjoying the One World with Doom. I am enjoying that. I kind of like the end of the second issue that came out. Spoiler. Doom is Sorcerer Supreme. So Doom got these powers, and he's doing a little bit of everything or whatever. So the Fantastic Four decide to pull up on Doom. And Doom say, well, you know what? Y'all here for smoke or whatever, but I'm gonna do Benjamin Grimm a solid. And so the issue ends, and if you don't have it, sorry, I'm gonna spoil it. But basically, he turns Benjamin Grimm into a regular human being. He's not the Thing now. So how that's going to come out of that, I don't know. I'm reading just the main title, and I'm reading not Stranger, I'm tripping. I'm reading Strange Academy. I'm reading the Strange Academy part of the Doom story as well. So yeah. But the situation with Kang, that was unfortunate. Shout out to Jonathan Majors. They can't go back and redo that or whatever. So, like I said, this thing has been messed up for a minute. It's been messed up for a minute. It hadn't really been right since Chadwick passed away. I'm gonna be honest with you. The whole MCU thing has kind of like lost its footing, literally. And while they put out some solid movies and some decent shows, it's nowhere near what it was. So yeah. So brother said, this is why Thunderbolt should have Doom since he did fight Sentry. Yeah, well, they throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it sticks. I don't know who pitched the Thunderbolts. It must have been a light week that week. Somebody pitched the Thunderbolts. I mean, and I get it. It's kind of like they're trying to tap into the Suicide Squad aspect on the Marvel side. Okay. But you guys are kind of late. In my opinion, they kind of late. But of course, this industry, these two companies, these two behemoths, if I can say it like that, always tend to copy one another. They tend to kind of go back in one another. That's why some people want a Deathstroke movie. The Deadpool stuff, franchise of Marvel has made a bunch of money. But I'm not so sure that Deathstroke would make a bunch of money. I think people would be intrigued to go see Deathstroke. But is Deathstroke just really gangster like that or whatever? Yes, he is, but you're not going to get. They're not the same characters. They have the same archetype. They made this character based on Deadpool or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, they're two different characters. So I wouldn't want to see Deathstroke in a movie by himself. I just don't think he has the appeal like that. Even though I did enjoy his comic book run that Christopher Priest wrote. If you want to read something dope, DC book, go read Deathstroke by Christopher Priest. Let's see what we got here. The MCU is heading to the ancestral. Nothing lasts forever, bro. Nothing lasts forever. Would help if they put out more Marvel stuff so we can get more excited or happy. But all this waiting is killing momentum and things altogether, etc. I mean, well, look, here's the thing. The MCU phase 4 was not as good as phase 3. It started to kind of unravel then. And I remember talking with Paul and some of the squad here, and we're talking about, some of the movies that were in phase 4 that were good. Like the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. That stuff was cool, right? But for the most part, the MCU in that phase was not that good. I think that the passing of Chadwick Boseman, I think that really affected the brand on Marvel Studios more than they're willing to admit. And to know that, for the most part, Ryan Coogler, who kind of like did a movie that really nobody wanted, Well, not kind of. He did. He did a movie nobody really wanted, and so there was no momentum. You literally killed the momentum when they just could have recast the character. That would have put the. Because here's the thing: when we get excited about stuff, other people get excited about stuff. It is what it is. So you can't keep putting out Thor movies and expect people to just continue to show up. You know, I mean, why you think it's such a struggle bus for people to say that they liked Captain America, Brave New World? Is it the best Captain America movie? No. But was it a whack movie? Not at all. It was a solid movie. It was dope for what it was. I'm at the place when it comes to Marvel that they're going to do what they're going to do. And even though I have no confidence in them to do the right thing, it's because these companies are corporations. These are not the toys of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby anymore. These are the playthings of Disney and Warner Brothers. It just is what it is. Now, I would like to see a Red Lion comic book for sure, JT, for sure. I would like to see that. They need to do something with that. Shout out to Christopher Priest. Nigel says, well, there was in the meeting and said, which character we haven't used already? And the cleaner shot at Sentry, and they went with it. Hey, it probably was something like that. It probably, because I just don't see a lot of people clamoring for Sentry books. I just don't. State did a 5-issue mini of Sentry. Didn't nobody talk about that book. Nobody. Marvel has lost its gloss. The House of Ideas is out of ideas. Nobody wants to talk about. Their funny thing is, Disney is in a I'm not going to say a panic mode, but they are in a crossroads. These live action depictions of these shows or these movies that they've been doing have not really just done what they thought they were going to do. You know, I didn't go see Mufasa. I had no motivation to go see Mufasa live action because I grew up. Me and my daughter grew up watching The Lion King in animation. Why would I think that a live depiction of Mufasa or The Lion King itself, even though it's a different story, would be attractive? They just put out Snow White. It went wood. It tanked. I mean, this is Snow White, the fairest white woman at all. It wasn't nobody buying it because, again, you know, Snow White is a baby boomer Gen X thing. It's not a millennial or a Gen Alpha, Gen Z thing. You guys are late to the party. The Moana movie is probably going to do better because you're literally in this generation of that can appreciate it. But why did they do that? I have no idea. I have no idea. Bo Bing hit us with a super chat. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Brother says, I did like Captain America, and it was good, but just off of that. I mean, you know, again, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. If we could just admit that it was a good movie, I think we would all be better off. Versus, it flopped or whatever. Was the movie good though? That's the question. Don't tell me that the movie flopped. Just ask the question. Ask whoever, if it was a bad movie, what made it bad? There are not a lot of commentators out here in the YouTube space that are really just saying, well, the reason why this movie was whack or it was terrible because of this. It really wasn't a lot of that. There were guys that were pushing back on it. Wait a minute, time out. Y'all tripping. This was okay. But for whatever reason, they want the right to just go in. And that's why I'm black pill, because right, left, it's the same funky bird. It's the same bird. It's the same bird. Bro, touch. I think Bambi's on tap soon. I hope not, bro. We don't need a Bambi movie. Stop. There's no way you're gonna get 70-year-old white people to go see Bambi. you mean to tell me you can't sell that to little children? You know what I'm saying? They were supposed to do, from what I understand, a Disney princess show, and they canceled it. So as far as black kids are concerned, little black children, there's nothing on tap other than the Ianu movie cartoon that just came out. That's for them, and we should big that up or whatever. But as far as the Disney stuff, there isn't really a lot. Because the Lilo and Stitch live action, that's going to look weird to me. That's kind of like the Sonic stuff. Now, Sonic people, that's a millennial thing, kind of. People that like Sonic, you know. But the live action Sonic was like, now just give me the cartoon. I'm good. I don't need the live action stuff. Y'all keep that. James says, I thought it was a good movie. There were some elements that would have been confusing if they hadn't watched the previous movies. Yeah. I mean, you know, could they have some better villains for Sam? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed the Red Hulk. I want a World War Hulk movie. That's what I want. As far as if you're going to bring Hulk back or whatever, that should be the movie that they do. They should do a World War Hulk movie. That would be fire. And you could bring in Damage Control, created by Dwayne McDuffie, because in that particular story arc, Damage Control had a 4-issue series around that whole thing. That would be dope. Nigel said name on his people was just watching from the deep while the whole thing was happening in Britain. Well, yeah. Long hey, Namor was cool. He said, look, I don't care what y'all do. Just don't come be looking for this vibranium. That's all I care about. So, he said, I bet we get Mike says, I bet we get Planet Hulk first. Yeah, they could do it. It'd be okay, but why just do the whole shebang? If nothing else, kind of maybe combine them or whatever, do a series or something. But I mean, we hadn't had the Hulk on screen in terms of the MCU in a minute. And the last time we saw Hulk was the She-Hulk stuff, which some people are trying to forget. I thought that was entertaining for what it was. But when they brought in Hulk back, Professor Hulk, and he had his son with him, you know, it was kind of like, okay, that's cool, but where are we going with this? And that was it. That's the last time we saw the Hulk on screen. The Spider-Man says, yeah, Ragnarok was pretty much Planet Hulk. Yeah. That was a pretty good, Ragnarok was okay. But I want a real Thor movie. I mean, I want Thor to just be Thor. I don't want him to be, I like Chris Hemsworth, but I want it to be a serious movie. I don't want him to be just cracking jokes and everything, you know, it's fun. I want a real Hulk, a real Thor movie. We had not gotten that. You know, we've gotten a bunch of Thor on screen, but not real Thor, if that makes any sense. I think they messed up with was it Love and Thunder when they had Gore the God Butcher? They could have really did something dope with that. They could have really did something, because I recommend you go, if you I was never really a Thor guy. When Donny Cates wrote Thor, I kind of was locked in, but I turned right around and I read the Jason Aaron volume of Thor where he does the God Butcher series. That was fire. That was fire. Jeff Roger said all Thor movies were whack. Come on, bro. You ain't like the Dark World. You ain't like the Dark World. Oh, yeah, that's what's up. So, what you guys been reading this week, man? So, shout out to murewaayodele. We had a lot of people pull up on Wednesday night or Thursday night, I'm sorry, for Stormwatch. You know, this book, I gotta say, issue number 7, it's all right. It's all right. I see you, bro. We have a Storm book. Finally, after all these years, after all of these hiccups, after all of these, we've had a gang of snooze fest when it comes to Storm individual books. But this Storm volume, except for issue 3, I know a lot of y'all get triggered by that, but he didn't. I shout out to him for staying 10 toes down, and shout out to y'all for staying with the book, because the book is banging. It's a good book. It's a good run. It's a good look for Storm. It's going to be kind of hard. Whoever gets the next shot at Storm going to have to really bring their A game. Because it's like Murewa just kind of like got all the chips and just pushed. Yeah. Moan says, by your recommendation, I picked up Monkey Meat. Yeah, Monkey Meat's dope. It's an acquired taste, but it makes you think. If you really just read it, study it, or whatever, shout out to Junie Bar, man. Yeah. But Murewa has not really wrote a lot of comic books, but let me see. One of his first books is a book called New Men, an Action Lab book. He did like a four issue mini of that. Pretty good. Y'all should go check that out. Y'all should go check that out as well. Brother Man says Black Godfather is kind of good now as well. Wild name though, Monkey Meat. Yeah, I mean, you know, look, you gotta have a sense of humor. I mean, look, it's you know, again, this is Junie Bar is a very, very smart writer, and you have to like kind of like see what the stories he's trying to tell, because Monkey Meat is an anthology type book, and so he's picking at certain things. He digs into things like capitalism, and relationships that are kind of like thought provoking. So it's a you got to have a brain. You got to have a brain. This is a nerdy book written by an African. You know what I'm saying? It's got a lot of principles in it. I think you guys will enjoy it if you have never read Junie Bar. Junie Bar wrote a Robin book, Robin the Boy Wonder book last year. That was incredible. So he's not a one-trick pony where, you know, he's just writing the African characters. Dude can flat out write, and he can flat out draw. He's a very dope artist. So Moan says, I got Ironheart. My comic book guy suggested Resurrection Man. I also got Those Not Afraid. That's what's up. The Ironheart book I thought was okay. I feel like it, you know, when you try to tell a story a one-shot story. You're limited. There's only so much you can do in 30 pages or whatever it was. So while I definitely shout out to John Jennings. He did his thing on the book, but you could kind of tell that he would, if he would have had some time to really cook, like they would have, if they would have gave him a budget to do a 4 issues or whatever, 6 issues, he could have really did something dope with Ironheart. And it's kind of weird that they would only green light a one shot in the middle of Ironheart getting ready to come out. That didn't make a lot of sense to me, but that tells you all you need to know when it comes to Marvel. They don't know how to read the room. So yeah. So that was dope. I enjoyed Miles Morales. Shout out to my man Amir. The Miles Morales book is pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And the reason why I say it's pretty amazing is because Cody Ziegler is expanding the capacity of a character who is Black and Latino. The sphere, the scope of who that character is. Bringing in a character like Anansi to kind of like not to give Miles some flavor. They've been giving Miles all kind of power boosts. He got a venom sword. He got a vibranium suit. Former vampire. They were doing a lot of things, but Cody Ziegler's writing on Miles has been phenomenal. It's been phenomenal. If you hate the Miles Morales book, you just a hater. Because you can't read that book and be like, oh, this is no good. This is woke trash. No, that's a good book. Ziegler's doing his thing, and he needs his respect. I'd watch it. I think they're giving Miles too much hard to keep up with his power best, and that's what I'm saying. They're giving him a lot on the power side or whatever. But I'm hoping that doesn't get lost on the fact that Ziegler is writing some phenomenal stuff, and he's brought in, which is weird too. It's kind of ironic that Storm is kind of dealing with a pantheon in her own book, and now there's a new story arc called God War that Cody Ziegler is doing in his book. So I don't know if they talk to one another or not, but I just think that was pretty interesting. And, again, Hercules and Thor and Ares have showed up in that book. So if you're like, the Pantheon type stuff, they talking about there's an agreement. I don't know how far he's going to go with it, but there's this kind of agreement that the Pantheon gods have with the Orishas to not do certain things, that there's a truce that has been broken. And so they're kind of dealing with some stuff on that. It's pretty enjoyable and just thought-provoking. So, yeah. It's a real prototype. Mike says, I was really enjoying stuff outside of his suit with his friends more than the crazy drama happening around him. Yeah, and shout out to Schiff, a.k.a. Jaime. You know what I'm saying? He got a name now. He got his own identity. He going to school. He's kind of cool. And so, what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, it's an entertaining book, man. He's made Miles, even though all of this suit, power boost, and all that stuff, he's made Miles a very relatable character. It's hard to not like Miles, to dislike Miles, if I can say it like that. What up, C. Cole? One podcast says his power base is the same. He has just gotten stronger, still can go invisible, still has the venom blast. He can do more with those powers, which happens when you get more experience. True that. My man Seco says Ironheart might have gotten that one shot because they had no idea when the series was supposed to come out, and folks' workloads might not have allowed for more than one issue. Yeah, well, you know, I think Jennings pitched a series, or you know, a limited series, not necessarily a one shot, but you know, either way, I just felt like they could have done more with that. They could do more with that character. If you want to put her in a gang of Iron Man books, do that, but don't have her like one shot. It's cool. It's cool. It's a cool story. It'd be cool to have it in the collection, but you know, to give this character a chance, you gotta put her out there. You know what I'm saying? You're doing a show. You're doing a Disney show, and people are going to still be wondering who this character is. The casuals, anyway. Moan says, I haven't read the series yet, but I did pick up Daredevil Unleash Hell. Have you read that yet? No, I have not. No, I have not. I am not really reading a lot of Marvel stuff, to be honest. Cody might be the best writer on Miles Bendis. I can agree with that. I mean, Ahmad was okay. He wrote a lot of books, but I just think it was just okay. You know, my biggest gripe with Miles during that time was his Rose Gallery never grew. And so Ziegler has been trying to do that. That's one of the things Ziegler has been trying to do, is give him a Rose Gallery that is complementary to what he's doing. That helps every character. Now, he says, do you like Radiant Black of Image Comics? Not really. I have a few Radiant Black books, but I will say that the Marvel and DC thing is for superhero genres is a real thing with a old head like me. It's kind of hard for me to give superheroes outside of Marvel and DC a real fair shot. And I know that there's a lot of Radiant Black books, and there's Red Book, there's some other books that they got going on, but I've never really just invested in the time to really make a few decisions. I do have a few books, and books I read have been cool, but it was never nothing that really just made me like, that just drew me into it. Now, what does Hersha say? Hersha says, Cap, Riri doesn't have the prestige or the fans that will pay for her books. Well, they're doing a Disney show. Of course, they did one for Echo as well. But I'm just saying, I'm not saying, bro, that we know as comic book heads what books sell and what books don't. I'm very aware of that. I'm not saying, but if you're going to put out a show, Marvel's thing is that let's put out a series while the show is getting ready to come out or coming out, so fans can kind of be vested in that. Clearly, what we got as far as, you know, the bad chemistry goes, I don't even know if that's even relatable to the story that's going to be told in the series. I don't know. I would just like for her to have a fair shot, get some new fans. I'm just saying. Now, Anthony Mazzano asks a question. He says, Rich, is it possible that in general, when it comes to comics, derivative characters don't sell well because people don't get behind them because it's just a copy of the original? I mean, there's some truth to that. But here's the thing about that. When a character is a derivative or whatever, to me, writing solves everything. Writing is the magic. Writing is the magic thing to do. Herschel, shout out to my man. I remember him saying that they literally made a talking raccoon a superstar. If they can do that with a talking raccoon, why can't you do that? Even though, to your point, there's something to be said about legacy characters. Will they be as successful? Maybe not, you know, but the question becomes, let's take a character like I'm trying to think of a character that is a legacy character outside of Miles. Because Miles Morales, in my opinion, and to some, transcends comic book stuff. Because Black kids, Latino kids love Spider-Man, and now they have one that looks like them or that they can identify with. Representation means something. That was one of the reasons why Bendis created Miles Morales and, Riri Williams. For whatever reason, fanboys feel some type of way about Miles, and they feel some type of way, especially about Riri Williams, because the thought was they're trying to replace Iron Man. They're trying to replace Tony Stark. I think that there's something to that in terms of support, but at the same time, all of these characters can sell if you give them good stories, in my humble opinion. Story writing is very important to comic heads. And if you're going to tell a story, you want to tell a story that's compelling. You want to tell a story that's original. And, I'm not a fan of giving a legacy character the same person's villains. That's one of the reasons why I had issues with Miles for the longest. You know what I'm saying? It took a long time for me to warm up to the Miles Morales train. I'll be honest. I was late for that train. But, comics sell because they're good or they have a loyal following. I mean, people bought a lot of bad Spider-Man books. A lot of people checked out of Spider-Man because the book was bad for like 5-6 years. We just got a new Spider-Man run. Some people say it's dope. So people are like, okay, I'm going to go back to buying books. Or you had people that were collecting Spider-Man books. They hated the writing on the book, so they chose to still buy the book, but not read it. They just put it in the collection because they were purists and continuity, kind of people. So, I mean, it's relative though. The dominant culture is going to support what the dominant culture wants, and they're not going to want a knockoff or a derivative. They're just not going to do that. I mean, I look at the Bat family as one such situation with Jace Fox. Jace Fox, they literally took him out of Gotham and put him in Brooklyn or New York to give him his own identity. And John Ridley wrote a dope story. Now, is he going to sell as much as Bruce Wayne books? Absolutely not. I don't think he could. I don't think he should. However, check it out, see the story on its own merit, and then form a decision that this is whack or whatever. Because, the whole thought is, okay, stop making these characters, make some new characters. Well, who's going to make the character? Who's going to put the time in? Who's going to write the stories? Who's going to make, is Marvel going or DC going to make the investment for original characters? Because to Herschel's point, it doesn't matter if these are original characters, knockoff characters. A lot of people do not buy and support comic books in this day and age. Most people are, not going to say most, some people are pirating books. Some people are just asking, is it good? A book come out. Well, I'll post a page from a comic book, it just came out 3 years ago. And someone said, when is that coming out? It's like people are not engaged. We have a lot of casuals in our space. And there's nothing wrong with being a casual. But, for people that really are invested, it's one of those things where I'm a canon guy, but I don't get in my feelings about Marvel wanting to do a derivative of a character, whatever. I always try to judge the story. If you can create a good story without sacrificing the integrity of the core lore, I'm for it. But if you're going to do that, and then, I'm not a fan of making Superman gay. It's not who he is, but some people think that was the move. It really wasn't. And the gay, quote unquote, fan base didn't buy the books. So again, this is one of those things, man. it's you know, it's all relative. But it's a lot of cats that do not know who Jace Fox is. They don't. But see, again, most people don't. I mean, look, as far as a character like Batman, who has a whole family, who has 10, 11 million different Robins, who has Nightwing, Red Hood, Oracle, Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, The Signal, all of these characters, Jace, Tim, the Fox family. You wouldn't know these characters unless you read Batman stories. You know, the Superman family. Me and Amir talked last week about Steel, who some say is a Superman derivative. He really wasn't. He was the original character. Did he wear the S on his chest? Yes, absolutely. Is he part of the Superman family? Absolutely. Nothing wrong with it. Doesn't make him a derivative of the character. I mean, he wasn't a Kryptonian. He was a doctor, Dr. John Henry Irons. He had a hammer. You know, he just wore it, but some people thought he was a derivative or a Superman knockoff because he wore the S. And here's the thing, guys. We got to stop acting like we want new characters. And when we get new characters, we don't support them. We don't buy them. That's funny to me. We laugh at, there are times when we laugh at the people in our space because it's like, y'all want original characters. But when you get original characters, you won't take your money and put your money where your mouth is. You won't do the transactional thing to do, which is support these books or support these new offerings. You want original characters. Someone's trying to give it to you, and you're like, no, maybe not. You know, people don't know what they want these days. You know, you put your money where your mouth is. That's what I say. Now, Anthony says, Rich, I know that there's Steve Rogers, Bucky, Sam, Isaiah for Captain America. Did they have a Latino Captain America in all the comics from Marvel? I don't think so. I know that they had the United States of Captain Marvel, and there was a native Captain Marvel. Not Captain Marvel, Captain America. Before the Latino character, I don't think that there was. Not in the Captain America family. The closest that you get to that is the native. Yeah. Says the wit says they're not casuals, they're tourists. Well, yeah. Captain America Chavez. Yeah, but I guess Spider-Man, she would not really fall under the Captain America family, I'm guessing. But to your point, that is a Captain America or Captain America Chavez. That's her name. Her name is America Chavez, not Captain America Chavez. Frustrated. What's good with you? Frustrated hits us with the super chat. Sorry, I've been busy, folks. Just back in my groove. He's my guy. That's what's up. What's going on with you, bro? What's going on? What the Washington Commanders been doing in the off season? I tell you what, boy, I cannot wait for football season. The Texans secondary is scary, bro. It's scary. It's scary. Man, if we get a good pass rusher, it's a wrap for the NFC, for the AFC South. We killing everybody. So yeah. They do have now is the gay Captain America in Avengers Academy. Behind the scene, boy, you out of line. Riri is a gender bent mouse. Sorry, y'all. Dion said it. I didn't say it. Y'all forward all y'all complaints to behind the scenes. He said that. Derek, we need a disclaimer for the chat. So let's see what we got. Wraith says, in my opinion, Miles Morales should lose some of his spider powers, like his spider sense and ability to clean the walls and become the new Prowler. I don't know about that, Wraith, but I appreciate the super chat.
Donation. It's a donation. I thought it was the trash. Don't be hitting on me.
Thank you.
Now, Real Proto Mike says, I like the idea of derivative characters making slightly different choices than the originals would have made. You know, it's interesting you bring that up, Mike, because I thought that was the whole purpose of the multiverse. All you multiverse people out here, y'all scream the multiverse. Y'all scream the multiverse. Whether it's DC and it's Earth 25, 27, 52, whether it's the multiverse on this side, we get all these different variations, and y'all just want one kind. Even Black Panther fans, you know what I'm saying? The ultimate Black Panther, they love that T'Challa, but he's not 616 T'Challa, or he's not, you know, the mainstream. The mainstream Marvel continuity T'Challa. I get confused. I say the more the merrier. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. First, they said, now Miles is this generation Spider-Man. Peter Parker is no longer the Spider-Man. Yeah. And again, I think that there's something to that. But to be fair, the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man that was on Disney, the show, I think it's on Prime as well. That was Peter Parker. People loved it. People still check for Peter. But, Miles is definitely I would say complimentary. I think they complement each other. Now they need to get their stories together, because the Spider-Man book that they put out with the two of them in it, it started off great and then it flatlined. And I don't know what happened because I dropped it from my pull list. But if you're willing to tell it, you could have them in the same book and tell a dope story. I'm all for it. But you got to keep the storytelling moving. You got to keep it full of action. You got to do a lot. It is what it is. It's Spider-Man. It's supposed to be action-packed. It's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to have, angst in it and that kind of thing, and learning and that kind of thing. But people don't want Peter Parker to grow up. And I'm gonna be honest, we haven't experienced it yet. But at some point, people are not going to want Miles to grow up. They're not. And I'm going to say this about Miles, and I'm going to shut up. Not Miles. I'm going to say this about Static. Because the fame that Miles Morales has is, in my humble opinion, directly connected to Static. Everybody is going ham over Miles Morales when that position is really supposed to be Static. But DC and Milestone dropped the ball, literally. And so that window is shrinking by the day and by the day. And at some point, nobody's going to care that Static had a cartoon. No one is going to care that Milestone was a behemoth in the 90s. There's going to come a point when people are going to be like, who? But all of that was because of Static. Y'all know, some of y'all know what I used to call Miles Morales. I told my man Amir, and I told some of y'all I was going to stop calling him that. because I want to respect the growth that I have toward Miles. I've warmed up to him, but I was hardcore Team Static. Yeah. Frustrated says, we see the Bat family members become adults and everyone wants Peter Parker to stay a kid. Well, the reason why I think that is because when all of us read Spider-Man as a kid, we saw ourselves, we could identify with Peter. Peter was nerdy. Peter was, he was dealing with teenage angst. You know what I'm saying? He was broke, but he was a superhero. And he had the hot chick, okay? He had the hot chick. Say what you want. I know people talk about Gwen Stacy, but I was a Peter Parker, Mary Jane Watson guy. That was the girlfriend I grew up with Peter. She was the hot chick. And Peter, that was his girlfriend. So as a young kid, you growing up with that, that's kind of what you won't like. You want to be a hero and you want to have the hot chick on your arm. That's any teenager. Okay? So the thought of him growing up and getting married, having kids, which is what we all should do. But think on this for a moment. The difference with the Bat family is Bruce kept a steady flow of Robins in his life. You didn't get just caught up with Dick Grayson. You had Drake. You had, Damien. You had all the others. He kept young people. He was always raising. So when Dick became Nightwing or whatever, right? And, homie turned into the Red Hood, it really wasn't a big deal. That was a part of growth. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's relative and I understand it, but I know why people don't want, Peter Parker to grow up. And it seems silly, but that's kind of the experiences we had. And that's why Static was so important, because Static was that kid, was that black nerdy kid, wisecracking, you know what I'm saying, who also got the hot chick, who was living his life and beating up villains and doing his thing. Miles is living that life. Yeah, not that Drake. No. Tim Drake. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yep. Brother man, so we never had to wait too long for our characters to do something or come out nowadays. They drop something, then they have us wait 2 years for to even mention them again. Well, that was the genius of Milestone. Milestone's goal was to have a book in a comic shop every month, a different book. Or not every different month, but every week. There was a run that Milestone went on where they had a different comic book coming out every week. So you literally would go to the comic shop 4 times a month because there was a new comic book, whether it was Icon, whether it was Blood Syndicate, whether it was Static, or whether it was Hardware. And of course you had other books like, Shadow Cabinet. There was a reason to go to the shop. And Milestone had that. I mean, oh my God. We could talk for hours about the situation with Milestone. Seacoast, he's at 1 and 1 podcast. That's the price you pay for working with a company like DC and Marvel. You get your growth limited. It is not by accident Red Sonja is that dynamite with more books than Milestone. Well, again, I mean, say what you want about Red Sonja or whatever, but somebody's buying those Red Sonja books. Somebody buying them. I have like maybe 4 or 5 Red Sonja books. But my Red Sonja books are Marvel books. I don't mess with the Dynamite stuff, but I have some Red Sonja from the Marvel, or Comic Marvel. Brother Man asks, do you think the pandemic stopped Static Shock? No. No. What stopped Static was DC and Milestone. They couldn't get the paperwork together. They had to, there was a lot of legal stuff that was going on or whatever, and it never took off like it should have. It had a core fan base that was buying the books. People forget that Milestone sold over 10 million comics. 10 million. Okay? 10 million. They had like a 3 to 4 year stretch where they were killing the game. Then they do the Static Shock cartoon, which upped their profile a little bit longer. But by that time, Dwayne McDuffie had passed away. A little bit shorter after that. And that momentum that they had, I'm going to be honest with you. In my opinion, when Dwayne McDuffie passed away, that was kind of it. That was kind of it. Because you never really were the same after that, after he passed. You never were the same. The fast forward adjusted, now the paperwork is together. Yeah, the paperwork is together now, but you can't get where's the next Static run at? Joe Ellis just wrote a 4-issue Shadow Cabinet story that was crazy good. But there was nothing to come behind the pipe that people said, we got this coming. When Milestone was doing their thing, they had books lined up in the chamber. It's a different company. It's a different world we live in. And I'm going to be honest, it's not the same Milestone. I had to watch the next question. Says, how was sales on Shadow Cabinet? I don't know. I know that we bought it. I know Joe Ellis joined us every week. I know we told people to go buy it, to pre-order it. And at the end of the day, what I'm saying, if you're not a Shadow Cabinet book is a Milestone book. And it's not a Static Shock book. It's a Milestone book. It is a Shadow Cabinet is a old back from Milestone 1.0. People that was been reading the Milestone books recently, Milestone 2.0, know nothing about Shadow Cabinet. Joe Ellis did this book. It was an amazing book, but that was really for the hardcore, the Milestone loyal fan base. So it sold, but did it sell well enough to be like, to get some momentum? I don't know. I just don't know. Fastwood Jackson is now DC Stone. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. There was a post in our space talking about, this kid was doing manga, killing it, selling a lot of books. People don't buy comics. They buy manga. These kids buy manga. They don't buy comics. Yeah. But anyway, look, we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me on the night. I want to thank you guys for the super chats. Please, please, please pre-order your books. It's okay to go to the shop and get something off the shelf, but pre-order your books because those are the sales that count. And, there's just not enough of us, to be honest with you, to serve our own community's best interests. There are lots of comic heads that are black, but they're not necessarily reading black books. And while I am a comic head and read everything, I know the importance of reading books that are focused on us, with black characters, black creators, black artists. It is what it is. The market is set up the way you have to pre-order. Pre-order, pre-order, pre-order. We got you. You got to do it. Got to do it. Got to do it. 1 in 100 podcasts. I'm gonna get to your super chat to say something about all those Hush Part 2 books in my shop, bro. Look, them books. Oh my God! You know what? Batman is literally a a license to print money. I read Hush #2, Batman issue 158, and while it was good, it really was good. Was it like, oh my God, this is a so? No, but they bring a fan favorite back, so it is what it is. But brother man, thank you for the super chat. He said showing support, so keep up the nice work. God bless. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He says, cool shirt. It says, I sold out, man. You know what? You ain't funny. Look, shout out to Eric July. You know what I'm saying? You can hate the game. Hate the game. Don't hate the player. That's all I'm going to say. But look, we got to get out of here, man. Well, thank you guys. That was fun. I want to thank you guys for coming and hanging out with your boy on tonight. With that said, I'm going to leave you with the benediction. The benediction comes from Ecclesiastes, right? The 3rd chapter, starting at verse #1. It says, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to heal and a time to kill, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. From the stronghold that is Black Comic Lords and Black Superheroes Forever, it's your boy Rich. And until next time, we say peace. And y'all keep Ripley's name out y'all mouth. I would say, y'all better get like that dude. That dude getting cash money. Cash money. Moan with the super chat. Thank you, Pocket Money. Appreciate you. Give me some tacos with that. You guys are trolls. The biggest trolls, but I love all y'all. We out, man.